The White Lotus Season 2 ending was an explosive finale for Mike White's dark dramedy miniseries, and the second chapter of the anthology concluded with, among other shocking moments that warrant further explanation, the death of a beloved character. The 2022 return of The White Lotus featured vacationers and locals in Sicily rather than Hawaii. However, the hit HBO show still explored corruption, wealth, and privilege, though with more focus on sexual scandals. The core message of The White Lotus Season 2 is that money and sexual misconduct can have fatal consequences. While the first volume's theme was the pitfalls of money and power, The White Lotus Season 2 positions money and sex as its primary motif, with the affairs of wealthy Sicilian vacationers having various triumphant or tragic effects on their endings. The finale featured a major White Lotus character death, blossoming new romances, and enough cryptic notes and shocking revelations to garner widespread audience and critical acclaim, as well as a third season renewal from HBO. However, The White Lotus Season 2, Episode 7 explains some of its story arc conclusions better than others. What happens in The White Lotus Season 2 ending? A quick recap of Arrivederci. The White Lotus Season 2 finale came with Episode 7, Arrivederci, which saw the conclusion of the four main story arcs. Ethan, Will Sharp, and Cameron, Theo James, come to blows after Harper, Aubrey Plaza, divulges Cameron's advances. Were it not for the intervention of a passerby, Ethan likely would have drowned his former college friend. Instead, after he's cooled off, Ethan confides in Daphne, Megan Fahey. The two then walk off together, possibly to have a passionate encounter of their own. While it's not revealed if Daphne and Ethan have sex, when Ethan and Harper become intimate again before the end of the episode, there's a rekindled passion in their lovemaking. Despite how rocky their Sicilian vacation was, Ethan and Harper are still together at the end of The White Lotus Season 2, as are Daphne and Cameron. While this happy ending surprised some, what shocked viewers was the death of an incredibly popular The White Lotus character, Jennifer Coolidge's Tanya. Tanya died in The White Lotus Season 2 finale after confronting Quentin, Tom Hollander, about Greg, John Grise. This was the only Season 2 storyline that continued from The White Lotus Season 1. Tanya fell from a boat to her death, though not before shooting Quentin and his associates. Tanya's body is discovered by Daphne, who is horrified. Meanwhile, Albie, Adam DiMarco, Dom, Michael Imperioli, and Bert F. Murray Abraham didn't have the Italian homecoming they expected finally, but by no means least shockingly, the full extent of Lucia's, Simona Tabasco's, schemes was revealed. While none of these conclusions felt unsatisfying, there are several elements of The White Lotus Season 2 ending explained less than clearly in the episode itself, but are straightforward to break down and make the finale much more satisfying when fully understood, as they fully reveal the core themes of the HBO anthology series. Was Greg really conning Tanya since White Lotus Season 1? Greg's feelings for Tanya were always fake. Split image of Tanya and Greg in White Lotus Season 2. The White Lotus Season 2 ending explained that Tanya's suspicions about her husband Greg were correct. The pair met in The White Lotus Season 1, and they married shortly after. Greg was acting suspiciously throughout The White Lotus Season 2 by taking secretive phone calls, and later leaving halfway through the vacation that he insisted they take alone. Before The White Lotus Season 2's finale, Tanya confirmed the major theory that Greg was the cowboy Quentin had fallen in love with years back, and Greg and Quentin were planning to kill Tanya for her money. While Greg seemed to genuinely like Tanya in The White Lotus Season 1, his actions with Quentin indicate that she was a long con. Greg wasn't wealthy when he went to the White Lotus Hawaii resort, so he likely picked up Tanya as a mark, hoping she would be easy to seduce, marry, and quickly divorce to take her money. However, Tanya made Greg sign a prenup, so he had to work with Quentin to find a loophole to get her millions. This meant murdering her at sea and Greg leaving Tanya with Portia in Sicily to have an alibi. Since Tanya died in the White Lotus Season 2 finale after slipping and drowning, Greg may inherit her money. However, the police will be able to trace Quentin and his associates back to Greg, including their secretive phone calls together to plan Tanya's murder. If so, Greg won't end up getting her fortune. However, it's unclear who would inherit her wealth instead, as it doesn't seem like Tanya has any kin. One possibility put forward online by viewers has been that her assistant Portia could end up getting the money after the White Lotus Season 2's ending. Why Tanya had to die in the White Lotus Season 2 ending? Jennifer Coolidge's character death made the White Lotus Season 2 finale more impactful.